And Hannah, completely fine if you want to get us started. Um, and I don't, did you introduce yourself? Maybe, you know what? Give me 1 second. Let me just introduce myself. I know we all get introduced during the steering committee. Then Hannah will take over after that. But I'm Shelly Tiwari, and I know all of you. But I am the director for the Center for Teaching Excellence. My official title is Director for Faculty Development and Student Success. So I oversee Center for Teaching activities, a number of programs and initiatives, and also have been chairing the Guided Pathways Committee for a year and a half now. And again, a lot has happened, as you'll see it in this presentation. And please feel free to ask any questions, and please feel free to reach out to us even after the presentation. So with that said, I'm gonna let my colleague, Hannah Ballas, who's also part of the Guided Pathways Steering Committee, take over from here for a little bit.
Okay, thank you, Shelley. So in a nutshell, guided pathways is defined as a structured framework in which we redesign the student experience from entry to exit. And our justification for embarking on this journey of guided pathways is related to data in terms of student success and student outcomes. So we have a lot of students who withdraw from courses. In fall 2019, 16% of the courses resulted in withdrawal, and only 74% of the course enrollments were successful. And then when it comes to our students who do graduate, one third of them take over 4 years and also graduate with over 80 credits. So um, what this is telling us is sometimes, students are taking classes that they don't really need to take, which means they need more guidance in terms of developing a pathway to getting their degree and then getting a career from that degree. Along with
Okay. Oh, Hannah, I'm sorry. Are you trying to move it too?
yeah. For this
Okay.
next slide, it looks like the data's not
It's not showing.
showing up.
It's okay if you just want to talk about it. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Probably just some tech issue again.
Okay. The next slide has data related to retention and completion rates, and um, I'm very sorry for the technical difficulty here, but overall we have a our 3-year completion rate. It fluctuates from year to year, but it a couple years ago, our most recent metric was around 18%, and that's increased to about 20%, which is still lower than we would like for it to be, but at least it's going up. However, there's also disparities in equity when it comes to our retention rates and our completion rates. So our in for our fall 2017 cohort, the fall to fall retention rate of full-time students was 64%, and for Black students it was only 48%. And then um, so there's also like that equitable disparity. And then when it comes to completion rates, our 3-year completion rate of African American students, it was only 7% compared to 26% for white students. So equity is another huge reason for guided pathways, and just looking for any structural systemic barriers that may still exist, and removing those is something that the steering committee looks for and tries to find reasons or tries to find ways of combating those issues. And then this slide is just the definition of guided pathways. I believe I already went over that, but redesign the student experience from entry to exit. And then this slide, it has the members of our steering committee. We have faculty, we have academic support, and we try to encompass people all across the institution, so it's not siloed in one department. And then when it comes to the framework of guided pathways, ultimately it's rooted in 4 different pillars. So pillar 1, if you hear the term pillar 1, it means clarify the path. Pillar 2 is enter the path. Pillar 3 is stay on the path. And pillar 4 is ensure learning. And later into this presentation, we'll go into detail about the work that is being done within each pillar. And however, it's important to note that the pillars aren't necessarily that set in stone. Like certain initiatives might actually cover more than one pillar, and it's not that cut and dry, but it just gives us this framework just gives us kind of some clarity and language around the work that we're doing. And then right now we have 3 different work groups established for pillar 1, pillar 2, and pillar 3. And pillar 4 is still kind of in the brainstorming phase, but we will establish a work group within that as well in the near future. And then this slide, it has our co-chairs. Yes, and hi Sheldon. Sheldon is a co-chair of pillar 1 with Nellie, who is in the transfer center, and then Denise and Hillary are pillar 2. I'm on that work group as well. And then pillar 3 co-chairs Derek Salinas Lazarski and Hillary Meyer. And pillar 4 is not yet established yet, but if anybody's interested in being a part of these work groups or participating in guided pathways, we welcome enthusiasm about it as well.
Thank you, Hannah. Yeah, and you can continue too. And actually, Sheldon, I don't want to put you on the spot, but since pillar 1 is being highlighted, please feel free to chime in, or if you want to take this part, that's fine too. But yeah, as Hannah indicated, it's really looking at all aspects of, the student experience here, right? So you're looking at when they enter here. In fact, even before that, you're looking at when they start looking for their choices, what programs to take, and are we providing the information really clearly to them? Are they able to enter the path and so on? So you're really looking at all the redesign. So pillar 1, as Hannah indicated, is about clarifying their path, so they really know what path they should be taking early on, because as some of the data points that Hannah's shared, our students don't know, and what our research has shown that when they come in and they opt for undecided because they don't really know what path they want to go, what program, what area, they end up taking access credits. So this really adds to their financial burden, and they don't finish on time. And we know the type of student population we're serving, our district is serving. It's not really doing them justice. So this is our first foundational pillar that we started basically our work with by forming this first pillar. Clarify the path. We call it program mapping, which is, we're going to talk a little bit about this. But some of the major goals for this work group when it began was to start identifying and The technical term, when you look at the research, is called meta majors, but we call it, for simplicity and really student-facing side, called areas of study. So that when students are coming, again, not knowing what area they're interested in, and looking at our list of, here's 150 plus programs, they can really, if they don't know what they need to do, that they can really identify more of broad area of interest, area of study, rather than thinking, okay, I don't know which program to go in. So, and we're going to show you a display of how we grouped all our programs into 7 areas of study to make it a little bit easier for students, again, go in. Some other goals of this that we're currently working on and getting very close to is mapping all our programs to transfer. If they want to move on to another 4-year institution, or if they want to find a career. So all our maps are all our programs are clearly mapped to transfer, further education, and careers. And we have actually almost finished creating maps for full-time students, and currently we'll be working on creating part-time maps and partnering with high schools and transfer institutions. So a lot has happened since we started our journey. Anna, would you like to add anything? Hannah or Sheldon, before we move forward?
I guess one other thing, I'm not sure if it's covered on
Yeah.
Let's see, the other slides related to pillar 1 is we're looking to,
Yeah, and I can move on.
We're looking at how we can embed the program maps within the catalogs.
Correct.
The current challenge.
Yes. So these are our areas of study that we took a lot of time, research, discussion, dialogue with the faculty and the work group and people, among our committees, to really see how do you group so many of the programs in. Again, we don't want, again, too many buckets, right? Again, if you're looking at us from outsider perspective, a new student coming, really not knowing a whole lot about again, what area interests them, this is give them kind of a little bit of an overview of what we offer here. And Hannah's actually shared, this is just our icons, but if you guys are interested, you can look at triton.edu/EOS, and actually, if I remember correctly, all our areas of study and programs are now organized and displayed under academics, our degree offerings, which used to be all alphabetical, but now they are organized by areas of study. So we consider this as a big accomplishment. And in fall, when students hopefully enter their path, we're hoping to implement some of these, paths, operationalize them, that they should be able to, again, be able to select their programs based on areas of study. So they can actually go through this. So please do check it out, how they look, and provide us, any feedback. So these are some of the next few slides are going into a little bit more details on what the process has been for us to do program mapping. So how do you map programs or pathways for students? So what we created is something called guiding principles for mapping. And guiding principles creates criteria for developing the semester by semester maps for all Triton's credit programs. And again, the idea is to clarify and simplify paths for new students, which is something which we were missing a year ago. So a lot of effort has gone into it. A lot of research has gone into it. We have looked at our, again, transfer center has been greatly involved, along with our advisors and faculty through this structure, has been able to do that. They've looked at top transfer destinations to create those maps. They look at transferology, transfer guides, our partnerships. We also have 2 coaches that have been advising and guiding us throughout this, because we really needed that outside expertise, outside eyes to really tell us and give their advice on, how are we doing? What's the, perspective? And, again, they bring a lot of expertise to them. So they've been with us, but benchmarking with other community colleges, and we've also incorporated student voice by doing focus groups for each and every aspect. So when the group created the first draft map, we had students take a look at it and provide their feedback on, does that make sense? Is that something, if they look at a map, would they be able to know what courses they need to, take in order to finish this degree or, certificate? And it has some other key information pieces. So really very research-based approach for this. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but again, this is the hard work of our Pillar 1 work group. I just want to acknowledge that in creating and establishing these principles to carry on this big task of mapping. And so they have established some of these things, again, based on research, such as the semester should be as close to 15 hours as possible, right? Why taking extra hours? It should really be, if the degree is 60 credit hours, it should finish in 60 credit hours, right? The type of courses should be spread out. We should incorporate one major class in intended path during the first semester. If you have electives, that's fine, but clearly mark which courses are IA, and these are some of the principles that were followed in creating the maps. And we have made really huge progress. In fact, the Pillar 1 was just meeting today, and we were discussing how we're almost done with maps. Again, through the collaboration with faculty, chairs, and deans. We had our curriculum committee representative join us today. In fact, we just finished meeting a few minutes ago. And we're working on creating some templates for these program maps. AS degree. So this can really help us, the faculty who will really be taking ownership of creating these maps. So that's nearly done. We've also created a rubric for faculty to help evaluate, because we did the first round of mapping, but this is a continuous process, which is going to continue through our curriculum processes. So new programs will be added. New maps will have to be created, the maps will have to be reviewed, and so really the idea is to transition to a really faculty-driven and sustained process through the curriculum, through the collaboration with the curriculum committee, chairs, deans, and discipline experts. So this is just one to show you all a sample program map. After all that work, how will it look like? So right now, the maps that we are currently working in are in a Word format, just for our working purposes. And we have made some changes, but the idea was that once a final template is done, that it would look something like the one you're seeing on the right side. Very simple, student-friendly map where they can see which pathway they're going for, what is the description of that, the next steps, and really clearly and concise way of displaying which courses they need to take in which semester and so on. So there's no confusion and there's no ambiguity in what we offer. Well, and again, please feel free to chime in. I know you and Nelly are the gurus of Pillar 1, so please feel free if anything I've missed.
I think you have done a great job sort of explaining what it is, what we're doing. I guess I can add really, like, this is really Pillar 1 as well as Pillar 4 are where faculty, especially full-time or adjunct, can really play a big role. Yes, this work group made of counselors, advisors, transfer center, and faculty, like, created these first maps, trying to really make sure all curriculum is sort of lining up with where it should be, the best for students. Everything was done with the department. So you may or may not have been involved in this, but in the future, like working with students, working with full-time and adjunct faculty, like, this is going forward going to be a faculty-driven process. It's going to be designed by, it's going to be approved by, and then used by faculty. So and I think Shelley sort of already explained that. Like, that's how we're going to sustain it. So we're just trying to create sort of a standardized way to talk about curriculum, to use curriculum, So across campus, everyone's on the same page. So, if you have any questions about this or want to know about your own programs, I think I'm recognizing some faculty names here. I'm happy to go over that, show you what sort of, if you haven't been a part of those conversations with your department, I'm happy to share that specifics with you if you want to see what's coming down the pipeline in your programs. And then same thing with Pillar 4. I'm going to have to leave in a little bit, but if you have any questions after that, I'm happy to talk, from a faculty perspective. Again, I'm in the science department. What working on these groups or with these groups can be like, and where we sort of have a say in this. But it's, so those are the big ones where a lot of it's driven by faculty, 1 and 4. But even like Pillar 3 of keeping students on the path, yes, there's a lot of support services there. It's a lot of, these programs meant to help students not leave the college while they're working on their degree. But, again, as faculty, we have a big say in this. We get the most interaction with students, so there's a lot of things of like, we're going to be piloting new systems and stuff of like having this better communication between what's going on in the classroom and all the support services that student might need. So when we notice a student is falling behind, who do we let know? How are we going to flag things to get the right people involved? So again, for those here that are faculty, there's so many places and ways you can be involved with this, whether it's the designing of it or at least the implementation of it. Again, and none of it is meant to be more work. It's all meant to make our jobs easier and make our interactions with students easier, and get them what they need. So anyway, just wanted to sort of give that sort of big picture idea of why we're doing all this and where we can be involved.
Thank you, Sheldon. Yeah, absolutely. And it's not done. While the first phase of maths we'll see rolling out, though our coaches have advised us not to use the word roll out, but maybe I'll say operationalize. The maps that have been officially approved through the, again, faculty-driven curriculum processes. You'll see them in action in fall. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. It still remains. So first and foremost, just like anything, we need to do an assessment of how it's all working out. How's it working out for students? How's it working out for advisors who will be heavily using these maps to advise our students, right? So all that assessment is a continuous process by which we'll be learning. But other than that, we have, we're working with, and I think Hannah mentioned that in the beginning, we're still working with our curriculum committee representatives to make maps available on the website. They're not there yet. In fact, one of the conversations we just had with them, with the committee, was that our registration for fall starts on 19th, so just a few days. So how can we expedite so that the Word documents are really available on our website and our college catalog? College catalog is something that the advisors and students use to register for their courses. So a lot of pieces have still need to be finalized and decided and implemented. That group, Pillar 1, will also be working with career services. We've realized that for the career degrees and EAS degrees, we may benefit from putting some additional milestones in their next steps. Because again, we're talking about career degrees, so are there additional things that students may need to do other than just looking for when do they apply for graduation, etc. So that's something we're having conversation with the career services. I mentioned already, so many of our students are part-time students, so one of the tasks will probably be more for late spring and summer will be to create, based on the full-time maps, create maps for our part-time students, incorporate summer semesters to include more flexible pathways. And then a communication process also, that's another thing we're discovering, and that's something that even our coaches indicated as you're going through this redesign process, you will be uncovering things that, will have to be, I won't say quote unquote fixed, but areas that need to be strengthened. And one of the things that we're realizing is that there does not exist a communication process currently that really align our curriculum, and now it's more maps with other key institutional processes and areas. So one of the things we have to see how, and when a new map is created and implemented, how does the admission know, how does the IT know, how does the degree audit know? So there's so many areas that have to be aligned with this new, with the new process. So how will that all roll out? So a lot has to be still done in pillar one, but Hannah and I thought might be a good idea to do some activity. Otherwise, these kinds of presentations become very lecture style. So Hannah, I'm gonna let you do this fun activity to give everybody a little bit break.
Okay.
So please go ahead.
So this activity is just meant to be for fun. It doesn't count for a grade or anything. So don't stress if you don't know all of the answers. But for this activity, it works best if you take a piece of paper and then you number it from 1 to 9, and then write on the paper, write the key word that you think fits in with that corresponding blank. Part 9 is a little bit tricky because there's 4, but it will just be the remaining 4. I know part of this is part of this language we've already addressed a little bit. So, but then there might be other terms that you might not. So this is just a nice tool to assess your knowledge. And the great thing about this activity is that all of these terms are referenced in a document that we have on the employee portal under the guided pathways page, and it can be accessed at any time. And the so I'll just give you a few minutes to kind of write your answers down, and then we can go over it. And then it looks like Kevin's working on it. He has the first 2 answers in, and those are so far you're correct, Kevin. Guided pathways is a structured framework with 4 pillars, which is being used to redesign the student experience from entry to exit. But for the next one, I'd like for you guys to kind of do the exercise to yourselves, and then we'll go over the answers in the next slide.
Maybe another minute.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is anybody still working on this?
Seems like everybody's done.
Okay. Okay. Selma is correct on number 3, areas of study. I'm gonna go ahead and share the answers right now. So upon entry at Triton College, students will be able to select a degree or certificate program within the 7 different areas of study, and they will have a clear idea of what courses to take by using a program map. So far, so good. Faculty, advisors, and other student services employees will use a case management system, which will provide students with wraparound services designed to support students in all aspects of life. Yes, so a little bit about our case management system. We'll talk a little bit about that in the next upcoming slides, but it's called CRM Advice. And then the wraparound student services, the key word there is like the holistic student support. So supporting the whole student instead of just parts of the student. And then the next statement, one of the goals of guided pathways is to increase equity, which is the extent to which systems are in place, which give all students the support they need to be successful. In terms of equity, we look at data and disaggregated by gender and race and ethnicity just to assess if there's any disparities, and that could indicate potential barriers we need to search for. And then success will be measured using a set of metrics known as key performance indicators, which include gateway course completion, credit momentum, retention, and momentum to on-time graduation. How did everybody feel about the activity? Was it easy, challenging? Did it help you learn a little bit more about guided pathways? Mixed up the last few. Okay, yeah, these we'll definitely touch more on the last few aspects in the later end of the presentation, but this is just overall, I got it. Fantastic support for students. Yes, thank you.
Good job, everyone. And Kevin, especially for you, I know this is new to you. You've not heard it. So considering that, I think you did great with the answers. So, okay, great. Well, let's see. What do we have? Well, as Hannah and I and I'm looking at the clock as you have just a few more minutes than 15 minutes. There's a lot. There's a lot to cover. I mean, I don't think even 2 hours would be sufficient to really give a lot of details of, what work has been going on. So this is very, again, high level. So talking about that, a little bit about Pillar 2, I'm going to go quickly over this. So Pillar 2, as Hannah mentioned, is about helping students enter the path. This is the path that we've just created. Remember, and it's a very scientific method. In Pillar 1, these are the program maps through the areas of study. How do you help students enter that path? How do you help them select that path? So this is where the Pillar 2 comes. Very much Pillar 2 work group is primarily student affairs, enrollment side of things, admissions, and they really made their goal to streamline the onboarding process for students, because this was very, very critical, right? Because again, you can have all the wonderful maps, but no one is using it, and we really have not made it easy for students to use it, right? So those are some of the things we had to really see. So streamlining onboarding process, making sure students have an advisor, that the advisors are guiding the students, And really, also really critical is new students exploring options for careers and further education, right? Like when are they exploring was one of the things that and you'll see on the right side, name of career coach. This is something really new. We're excited to have it. I remember, I think we bought this in fall. So it really help students explore career exploration. What do they want to do? There's an assessment piece to it, so that again, looking at again our programs, areas of study, what do they want to do? So that's the part of helping them enter the path. And academic planning, make sure that all students have academic plan based on the maps and paths we have created. So again, good progress has been made in this, and they have revised, and this has been a really big learning experience for the team, and really walking in the shoes of students and what the process was we had earlier, right? Some of the dots were not connected. So this really helped us look at our current processes and revised based on student needs. The new student orientation they have redesigned. The areas of study, this is really exciting, and it happened last month, Hannah, correct? That our new student application now incorporates area of study, because again, when we talk about, well, students coming in not knowing, okay, so do they have some idea about the broad interest? They should be able to select an area of study, if not a specific program, if they're not 100% sure. Right there in the application process, now we've also put the link for early career exploration. They want to explore. Again, it's sometimes not that very clear for our high school students, younger students, correct? Like what career they want to go. So some of those things have been embedded due to the work of Pillar 2. I'm not going to go through the whole idea behind CRM Advise. This is a separate project in itself, a huge project, but just want to mention this has also come through the work of Guided Pathways only, and it has so many capabilities, a system. It's really our technology upgrade in a way, if you want to put in simplistic terms, to really help us operationalize some of the aspects we've talked about. And also looking at this also goes smoothly to Pillar 3, helping students stay on the path. So CRM Advise is again, technology upgrade is going to help us really leverage technology to help our students. And again, this is the time that we're helping to prepare to operationalize these maps in early student experiences. And a lot still has to be done, but we're excited. Every day is a new question mark, and we always ask questions, okay, how can we make this happen? I think I've already talked a little bit about this career assessment tool. So what's changed from the student perspective? Career assessment, counseling, advising have been separated. Don't want to go too much into detail at this point. Student orientation and by improved enrollment process map is that whole redesigned onboarding that we were just referring to. So here's a quick picture of that. I would encourage, because there are again so many aspects to this whole redesign process, if you'd like to get more details, if you'd like to get involved in any aspect, do reach out to the co-chairs of each of these pillars, and they can provide you definitely more information, or a lot of this information is also on our portal page. We're going to show you in just a minute. So again, looking at student application to enrollment to when students attend the first class, and how that process was and what needed to be done in order to streamline. So it's just a map that the Pillar 2 created in order to make sure that it's a simple process for students. Okay, so we'll take just maybe a few minutes break to see if you have any questions. What are your questions, thoughts, perspectives? Doesn't even have to be a question. What are you thinking? We would like to hear from you. And if no comments, thoughts, please, think about it. Reach out to us. You can reach out to me. I'm the chair of the GPS committee, as I just mentioned, but we also have a listserv, GPS committee at triton.edu. which reaches out to all our members. Again, they would be able to give you, again, diverse perspectives. And I mentioned in the beginning, this is a very diverse group coming from all aspects of the college, which has really been a very powerful thing from my mind. Yeah.
Shelley, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sometimes
James, yeah.
yeah, when I work as an enrollment facilitator, are you with those maps? Are we gonna ask the student what they want to major in, and you'll have sheets of paper that literally show us the first semester they should take this class, these classes, this class, and this. I've seen those before somewhere else. Is that what you're looking for mapping? Sounds like that's
Yeah, eventually that's the idea. I don't know if we're completely ready for this fall. That should really help us. Now, we're not saying that this would take out that one-on-one. We still want to see, but these are guides. We hope that they follow the map, but it doesn't mean that, for some reason, because there's still some choices in electives that they would still have. But it's still, I would say, it's hard to put a percentage on it, but it's still pretty, it should be clear in their minds, okay, in the first semester, the first year, I need to get done with these because these are the major. So those principles, those they have to still, but I think it should only help the enrollment facilitators. So the maps, as I envision it, and as I just mentioned, I don't think we're ready for fall yet, but that should just make it easy, that you'll have the PDFs on your side, on our website, to be able to guide them. Absolutely.
Okay. Do we still use paper catalogs? I think you mentioned catalogs somewhere in the discussion. We don't have paper catalogs anymore, do we? I mean, I like those. Actually, like looking through the paper. Then, but do we actually have a catalog of classes like we used to? They still print them?
Anna, do you know this? I don't. Yeah, I don't think that they. Would we have some paper copies? Probably, but I don't think. I think it was all changed to a smart catalog, so it was just on our website. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't think. I think they were trying to get away with the whole paper.
Yeah, I understand.
Paper, yeah. And I know Kevin. Okay, thank you, James. Kevin, you had some questions too. I'm just looking if you wanna. Are there online classes designate? Is that what you're saying? Designate for first year classes?
Yeah, so
first year.
If first year students were enrolled in online classes, and then he was asking about, oh, I wonder what the success rate is in those courses. And the research department, they generate a report every semester that has course success rates for course, and one of the things that we do is we sort that by modality, and we have a nice dashboard with online courses. I think I'm trying to attach it to the report, but I'm not really sure how. But Kevin, I can send that report to you later. And then another thing, another point related to James's question is that we have this program map, but the program map is more of an outline. But when the student goes to an advisor, they'll have an academic plan, which will be more customizable for that individual student. But the program map will give them an idea of how long will this take, what kind of classes am I going to need to take to get to have more of a long-term idea of what to expect.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, academic plan will, in my understanding, will put these maps into more live, living thing that will tell them, okay, you're done. Okay, so now it's going to populate. So this is more on the, again, technology side. And our thinking is everybody should have it, but that's not currently the the case. And well, we also did not have maps before, so I think it'll be helpful to have those now that we have these templates and maps for each program to be able to go ahead and populate those, our academic planning tool with those. So that's something we're currently looking at. So,
Okay.
anybody else? Otherwise, we just have a few more minutes, so we'll quickly. So thank you so much for your questions. Yeah, keep them coming, and it doesn't end here. Absolutely, you know, reach
Yeah.
out to us. So yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
Shelley?
Yeah, go ahead,
Uh,
James.
Yeah, Shelley, the question on online, won't the research be skewed because the difference between the remote classes and the online classes is somewhat blurred now? I mean, except for using Collaborate, you know, uh, from a fully online class, the difference isn't very much anymore, is it? Uh,
Hannah
until we
question.
get back to face to face. Yeah, the face to face. When we get back to some kind of normalcy, then we can make a differentiation again. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We have, so in our course success report where we have the success rates disaggregated by the different modalities, we have our in-person courses, which are very few, and then we have our online courses, but we also have our extended remote learning classes, which
Mhm.
are classes that they're online, but they, the students and faculty are scheduled to meet like all at the same time. And then we have
Yeah.
our hybrid classes. So the report for this semester has it disaggregated by those.
Okay.
And then let's see. One of the other things about that report too is a lot of the courses in there that say they're in person. There are a lot of them are dual credit courses, which were scheduled to meet in person in the fall, but they may have gotten moved to online. But they were originally set up to be in person, so that's how we have it coded in the system. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the report, and I will send that report to everyone who's on the call today, the course success report.
Thank you, Hannah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the data, especially with the new format. Absolutely. And Kevin, you'll definitely enjoy the online course success rate. You know, just looking at and what can we do from our online course perspective, the design perspective. Okay, so all right, so just again really quickly, so pillar 3, where are we at? Stay on the path, right? So students have a clear pathway. We are helping them enter on that pathway, hopefully, and a lot of this will have to be assessed for this fall. And now the really big challenge is that, okay, even if they, you know, enroll with us and have selected the pathway, how do we keep them here, right? Because that's so important. It's all about retention. And, you know, as Hannah mentioned in the beginning, we don't historically have a very good retention rates and, you know, persistence, and students don't often stick to the path and stick to, you know, the program they're in, and they drop out. So what can we do? So looking at really this, again, big aspect of that. So the 2 goals for this pillar 3, which has formed just a few weeks ago, they've undertaken 2 big tasks. And the first one is they're actively working on is you know, as we were meeting just a couple of days ago, you know, just like I mentioned, it's one of those things that the more you know, the more you uncover, the more complex it becomes. But we've decided to tackle this. It's class scheduling. You know, how are classes scheduled so that we can ensure the students who need those courses, it goes back to the maps, right? Like we're saying semester 1, this course. Are we really offering it? Because there's a whole host of issues going on, and it's not just it's not just unique to us. So we understand that, and even our coaches have said many institutions go through when they're going through the redesign process like that, do encounter this issue that, okay, well, let's see, make sure the students, we have the courses that were scheduled that are available too. So when you look at that, you look at other aspects too, right? What is our class cancellation policy? How do we schedule? How do we decide the modality? How do we decide which times? And so they've really started to uncover and have this important dialogue under the pillar 3. And so hopefully we'll have some recommendations moving forward to really look at redesigning of our scheduling process. That'll be interesting and helpful to see. The other thing they'll probably start in fall is support services, really looking at holistic support. Some of this will be addressed by CRM Advise, a technology upgrade to be able to do, for example, retention alert is one of the features that we had through Colleague right now, but it doesn't function as well as we would like. It doesn't close the loop. So we're hoping that this CRM Advice would have that capability. Again, much has to be seen because summer will be the first time launching and piloting it. So those are some of the things that pillar 3 will be looking at, and I'm going to skip this. As I said, this is a whole project, a sub-project in itself, but Denise and Hillary would be happy if anybody wants to know a little bit more about CRM Advise, and Hannah would be able to give you more information about what this system upgrade will be able to do and how it handles case management advising. And I'm going to skip to that and talk a little bit about, especially because we have 2 faculty here, and Kevin too, all of your faculty, is one of the things that's coming up in Horizon is really looking at pillar 4. Our coaches have really advised that do not leave one aspect, that it's still a lot of work for us, but it makes sense to do really, attack is not the right word, but really go ahead and try to work on all the pillars at the same time, but that there is a lot of things we can leverage. And the last pillar, although not really, this one I can't really say it's very sequential, but really it's about teaching and learning. So you have to make sure that, again, you know, students have a path, they've picked a path, they're staying on it, but are they really learning, right? Because that's a really critical question. And as faculty, I'm sure you can relate to this. So our college, and those who have been associated with this for some know that we've done a lot of good work with assessment. This is kind of will be the next step after that. So not just assessment as busy work, but really taking it to real class teaching and really changing our teaching practices and adoption of these high impact practices. And again, it's going to be very faculty driven. It's going to be a lot of work. We have not started yet. We're just forming the group. So if any of you are interested in getting involved in pillar 4, so again, very faculty will be greatly involved with this. Please contact us. We can get you definitely get in touch with the pillar 4 committee. Okay, so I know it's 2:30. Hannah, you want to take a quick second to talk about how we're going to assess if we're making progress in the key performance indicators? Don't want to take too much of our time, but please take a, yeah, go ahead.
So we have established key performance indicators related to if a student has persisted, at what rate are students completing their credit hours, are they completing their gateway math and English courses, and we have and this is data that we'll be tracking every year to see if we're increasing. And there's a momentum metrics report that I will send you that has these indicators on them. And it also has the data disaggregated by race ethnicity, because that's where we're seeing inequity in outcomes. And we're also going to try and close the gap between different race and ethnic groups, and have everyone have higher rates and there be less difference between those rates.
Thank you, Hannah. Mm-hmm.
I won't go into too much detail, but after this presentation, I will send you the data along with the course success data and the guided pathways glossary. And again, all the data is available in the guided pathways forum as well, except for the course success report that's in the research part of the portal, but the momentum metrics report, the glossary, and then lots of other material is in the guided pathways portion of the portal, including a teaching and learning toolkit, which was provided to us by Achieving the Dream, that goes into detail of evidence-based practices in teaching and learning that have been shown to work.
Perfect. Thank you. I think you've already covered this slide, Hannah. So yeah, you want to learn more? Absolutely. We have a whole portal page dedicated to it. There's a lot of research materials, things that our coaches have provided us, our presentations, and a lot of neat stuff there. I just want to take 1 second. If you want to know even more, learn a little bit more deeper research on this, and again, what's the context behind it, and how the CCRC and some of the scientists in CCRC came up about it. Some of the things we have already shared, but more context, please read this book, Redesigning America's Community Colleges. We have a few books in the CTE. So Kevin, you're welcome to just pick it up anytime, and others, please feel free. We can have you borrow it. This was the first book that the whole committee read before we even started the conversation, and it's been really, really helpful to learn more about, where the researchers were coming from, and looking at this CCRC's perspective. So with that, we are going to end here. Are there any last minute thoughts or anything you would like to share? But we thank you so much for joining us today and learning more about guided pathways and your interest.
Oh, thank you.